Hey guys, DJ Lawn here. As you can see, I've had a haircut today. I'm looking fresh as fuck. Today I want to just do another little talking to the camera video. Had some ideas, wanted to share them with you. And today's topic is the idea of intrinsic motivation versus extrinsic motivation. So you might already know what this stuff is. And the reason why I'm talking about it is because I've been struggling a lot recently with motivation, and I think that I've started to sort of realize what it is that makes you want to do things, what makes you want to be motivated. So let's start with extrinsic motivation. That's where you do something for like an outcome, a reward. So you might be like, I'm going to run 5 miles today, so then I can reward myself with some cake. It's kind of fucked up, right? Because then, first of all, obviously, you're doing that exercise, then you're eating a cake anyway. So what's the point? But even if your reward is something decent, what happens is you only want to run when you can get that reward, and eventually your tolerance to that reward, because the dopamine circuits in your brain are going to build up. And this is stuff I picked up from another YouTuber guy called Dr. Huberman podcast or something like that. That's like a 2 hour lecture. He's a neuroscientist. So anyway, back to my point. Yeah, so if you're doing like you go run 5 miles and then you're doing it for reward, you begrudgingly do the 5 miles. You're like, oh, I hate doing this. And then you do something the reward, like, oh, it's so worth it now. But then you're gonna have to put up a tolerance to that thing, so you're gonna need more cake and more reward and stuff to make it worthwhile. Um, and something you can apply to music production. It's like, oh, I'm gonna make this track and I'm gonna put my heart and soul into it. And I'm gonna begrudgingly push through and make it best I can, and really stress about it because this is the thing that's gonna give me the record deal, and that's the thing that's gonna push my career forward. And when you do it like that, it's kind of like you can do that for a bit. I did that for a bit. I did that for like maybe 4 years, maybe longer, before I kind of went like, right, I can't keep doing this because I just feel like I'm making music every day and I'm not really enjoying it because I'm trying to make music every day when I'm not feeling inspired or motivated, which you still should make music if you're not feeling motivated, which we'll get to in a bit. Um, but yeah, I think I was always chasing this end goal of like, oh, I want to be a big time DJ, or I want to get something to this label, or I want to reach 100,000 monthly listeners on Spotify or something. There's always like an end goal in mind. And not to say you shouldn't have these goals, but if they're your main priority, I think you're setting yourself up for failure a little bit. Let's take a sip of tea. Tea's great, by the way. So let's talk about intrinsic motivation. So intrinsic motivation is where you're doing something for the sake of doing it, kind of, and that's kind of vague. Let me rephrase it. So let's say you're making music, you're doing it because in that moment you're enjoying doing it, and enjoyment is like a subjective thing, right? Something can be producing negative emotion, and you can still be enjoying it. And this is the trick, right? This is how you do things that suck, but like doing them. You need to train yourself to do the hard things that you don't want to do and enjoy doing them. And it sounds kind of weird. It's like, well, I'm not going to get pleasure from that, right? It doesn't produce joy in me. Like maybe you're trying to do some work, maybe you're trying to build a business or you're trying to write a track when you don't want to. You feel this resistance and you're like, oh, I really don't want to. I'd rather just watch another episode of Netflix, or I'd rather go get some food first or something like that. You're always putting off, putting off, putting off. And then you kind of like, you know, you're not deriving pleasure from it, but you can still enjoy it. So the way that dopamine in your brain works is it releases on the subjective idea of pleasure. Meaning, for example, someone could enjoy cake much more, and someone could enjoy. There could be two people. One person enjoys cake a lot, and another person doesn't really enjoy it, or only enjoys it a little bit. And they're going to release different levels of dopamine because of the subjective perspective of that pleasure. So what you might see is like people in the gym who go to the gym all the time. Let's say again, let's say there's two people. There's one person has a New Year's resolution, like I'm going to get washboard abs, I'm going to get six pack, I'm going to get ripped, and after 2 weeks he gives up because he's not seeing results. And there's the other person who's just like, I like going to the gym because I like going to the gym, even though it sucks and I don't want to go most of the time and it hurts. I like this like sadistic pleasure from feeling the burn. And I used to do this when I went running. I used to go running and I used to feel like I'd be like, 20 minutes into my run, non-stop running, and I'd just be like, I'm about to collapse, and I'll just be like, yes, this feels fucking sick. Let's keep going. And I just feel that like burn and derive pleasure from it, like in a sick way. Like, it's kind of where you might know what I'm talking about, but you're just sort of like, yeah, you're pulling pleasure from that thing. So I think that's the idea behind intrinsic motivation. So like in music production, again, you might be sitting there thinking, oh, I really don't want to make music today, or I think I've made music long enough, and then that resistance starts to kick in. Instead of telling yourself, "Oh, this sucks, I want to stop," tell yourself like, "Oh, I'm starting to feel the resistance. I'm starting to feel this sucks. Good, keep it coming. I want more," and just like feel it and allow it to mold you and like bend you into place, like you're a piece of metal being bent in a factory or something, and just really like enjoy it. So I think that's the key to really having long-term motivation, because if you're doing something for a reward, an outcome, and you don't get that reward quickly or see progress quickly, which you won't with things that are important, things that are meaningful, will take time. So you need a long-term strategy, you need long-term motivation. Because if you're not getting massive bookings and you're not getting signed to record labels after 2 weeks of starting making music, yeah, you're not going to last. So you got to pull that intrinsic motivation, and it's easy at the start because everything's novel and new. If let's say in the first year of making music production, myself included, I loved it. Like every day I'd just be on it, and I was just messing around. But as time's gone on, I feel like I don't enjoy it as much. It sounds kind of sad, but it is what it is, I suppose. So now I've got to find ways to push through. And I haven't tried this too much yet, but I am starting to feel like this is the right way to go. Um, I've tried doing a few things recently where I just power through it without being begrudging, like being like, I get to do this. This is sick. This is awesome, and like enjoying the negative emotion, enjoying the resistance, enjoying the suffering. Um, so yeah, I think that's all I really want to touch on today. Just some ideas. If you have any ideas or comments yourself, I'd love to know about them. Just hit me in the comments. And if you disagree with everything I said, just let me know. I'd love to hear your opinion. And if you agree with me, cool. Let's chat more. So yeah, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you soon. And if any ideas you want me to share, just let me know. Cheers.